Hello, I'm so glad you found this video. It is Bicycle Touring Talk, episode 71. We are cycling across Canada from coast to coast, west to east. I am George Schlacek,
the one and only.
And I have ridden this tour in the summer of 2017. There are so many stories and information still to share about it, which is why I'm making this series. In episode 70, I told you how Barbara and I camped in Fairmont Hot Springs after I had ridden about 108 kilometers that day from Cranbrook, and Barbara had driven the distance in her car. You might say that this tour wasn't really self-supported, but hey, Barbara was only traveling with me for a short time, and I was the one hauling the camping gear on my bike. After a night at this gorgeous riverside campground, we had breakfast right there. The weather was good and we were looking forward to an exciting day with not too many kilometers overall, but another bath in the hot springs at Radium, which was only about 38 kilometers away. I figured this would take me around 2 hours. Indeed, the ride passed quickly. It should have been a very scenic one, as Highway 93 is nestled along a hillside and there's a lake down below surrounded by cliffs and hoodoos. Unfortunately, all the spectacular views to my left were blocked by lanes of fast-moving traffic. This turned out to be a very dangerous part of my ride, as the road had a shoulder that was mostly coarse gravel with a narrow paved strip I could actually ride on. But that was unpredictable because of a lot of the gravel had found its way there. I met up with Barbara in Radium Hot Springs, which is also the gateway to Kootenay National Park. The highway, 93, makes a right turn there, going up to the park and also ultimately to Alberta. The hot springs are part of the park, not far from the gate. The road leading up there was under construction, and since it was all uphill, it was quite the challenge.
Hurry up, will you?
To enjoy the hot springs with Barbara, I had to lock my bike onto her bike rack and leave the panniers in her car. We spent the better part of 2 hours in the facilities. The weather was great, but dark clouds were somewhere on the horizon. This didn't necessarily mean a storm was moving in. Often they just passed to make way for more beautiful sunshine. Neither of us had checked the forecast. What could possibly go wrong? Well, things actually started going a bit sideways when we tried to inquire about camping facilities in Kootenay National Park. Park wardens told us that none of them were open until late June. It was only the 8th of June, meaning that we were out of luck. Where were we going to stay? Banff, Alberta was 136 kilometers away. A couple of hours tops for Barbara's car, but I was riding my bike. This is a ride in the mountains. 136 kilometers here is not the same as on flat terrain. It was going to be impossible to make it out of that park once I started that trek. The only other option was to stay in Radium Hot Springs, back down this road, only to climb up again the next morning. Affordable accommodation in this town was in short supply. We decided to move on and stealth camp, which could be risky and is probably illegal in this park. However, Barbara had the annual pass for all Canadian national parks for that year, which of course don't cover the camping fees. The ride that followed was probably one of the weirdest and most scary ones I've ever experienced. Moving upwards from the hot springs was tough because of steep inclines. At least it started out dry, but the weather was changing and it didn't look good. As I was working hard to climb the mountains, a car pulled over from the oncoming lane, 4 ways flashing. The driver lowered her window and said that there were 2 bears further up along the road. One was just ahead on my side, a huge black bear, they said. The other one was about 1.5 kilometers or so further up, and it was a small grizzly or brown bear. Barbara had already gone ahead. She was going to go look for a suitable place to pull over where we could perhaps hide and secretly set up camp just before dark. She was going to turn around once she found that and meet me so I could follow her. I had to get past those bears without startling them. Going uphill, I wasn't fast, so the only way to get away from them once they'd decide to chase me was a U-turn back down the hill. I made a big circle around the first bear using the shoulder on the opposite side. It worked. While I was able to see the bear grazing in the ditch, the animal never even looked up. Good thing black bears are not usually after human meat. Grizzlies are known to be a bit more aggressive. Since that one was supposed to be little, I had to expect mama bear in close proximity. This did not feel very safe. Well, my heart rate was already through the roof from climbing the hill. So I focused on just keeping the bike moving, ready to do a U-turn on a very short notice. I was now using my side of the road again. Finally, I spotted bear number 2 moving away from the ditch at a considerable distance. Probably disturbed by the car that had stopped to snap pictures. This was good because, as far as I was aware, it meant clear passage. I was so focused on moving ahead that I had not even noticed that the weather had changed until it literally hit me from behind. Have you ever had a tailwind so strong that it blew you up a mountain? This was just about the craziest thing ever, and at first I was thrilled. Then it got uncomfortable. I was wearing nothing but my shorts and a t-shirt. The thought of changing into my windbreaker shot through my mind, but it was too late. Minutes later, I was soaked to the bone, like someone had just unleashed a flash flood just on me. This was trouble. What could I do? There was now a very real risk of hypothermia. The temperature had dropped significantly and the wind wasn't letting up. At least it was helping me move, so I tried to add all the energy I had to it in an effort to keep warm and cover some distance. Where was Barbara? At one point I saw a trailhead with picnic tables and a canopy. It was tempting to seek shelter there for a while. Then I saw the sign, "Facilities closed due to bears in the area." Oops, I didn't mean to hang out with those guys. I have no idea how long I had ridden, but the storm was actually tapering down when I finally saw Barbara's blue Focus. She pulled over across from me. I hopped in after taking off my panniers and putting the bike on the rack. I had to change into something dry. Thanks to some plastic bags in my panniers, I still had dry clothes. It was a challenge to change in the passenger seat of the car, but I managed. Barbara also had some food and heated seats. So, yeah, after a brutal ride in the storm, she literally rescued me. Did we stealth camp? You could call it that. We both slept in our seats in the car. It wasn't a comfortable night, but it was dry. The next morning, we made breakfast with my little stove on a rock. It was super early. The weather was damp, but it wasn't raining. Barbara and I said goodbye that morning. She was going to Nehemiah Valley to attend a ceremony for her mom, who had passed away that winter. Then she was going to spend some time with family and visit her dad. I was going to cross the Alberta border that day. No one was going to rescue me the next time bad weather would hit. Barbara and I had plans to cycle together again once I'd get into central Ontario. She was going to fly there later that summer, but that was a long way off. First, I had to make it through the prairies and then the endless wilderness of northwestern Ontario. I'll tell you how it went on in my home province of Alberta in the next episode. I promise it'll be interesting. Now I would like you to hit the like button. And yeah, help me reach more people by sharing this video with those who might enjoy it. Thank you. And I always have more videos on this channel.